Hey folks, I just wanted to take you through some of the basic ideas behind section 5.1, 511, and 512. Essentially, 511 is talking about something called compound conditionals. Now, that sounds super fancy, and section 5.1 is even called complex conditionals, but I'm here to tell you this is nothing to be afraid of. Compound conditionals. So what's this all about? Well, with compound conditionals, we're really just talking about if-then statements, which you already know to some degree. So the good news is that in going through the beginning of Unit 5, Section 5.1 certainly, you're going to get a chance to strengthen your understanding of how if-thens work. So essentially with an if-then statement, let me see if I can go ahead and zoom this in a little bit so that you can see what's going on. If-then statements usually are something where you say, if this happens, then that. Let's take a look at the sandbox for a second. Let me go ahead and get rid of all this. So if-then statements are just if some condition. Okay, I'm just going to write the word condition for now. And then we put a colon, and then we have some action. Okay, in fact, you know what? Let's make it like super Python official. Some action, and we'll make this some condition. Okay, so what does that mean, some condition? Well, we're looking to see whether there's a statement here that is true or false. That's what some condition is. So if some condition equal true, or if that condition equal false. And honestly, if some condition itself is of something that has a value of true or false, then we don't even have to say equal true or false. We can just say if some condition is true, and just leave it like that. Okay, so then we'll do some action, and maybe we'll do some other action. And so on and so forth, This could keep going and going and going. Well, with when we get into this next part, and by next part, I mean 5.511 compound conditionals. All we're doing is we're making it so that you can do more interesting things with the condition part of the if statement. In other words, before you could say if x was less than 10, or you could say if is happy is equal to true. Now you can do things that are more complicated. So when you look at the example here, and I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit, when you look at this if statement here, not only are you checking to see if x is greater than 200, you can also check to be sure that y is also greater than 200. And in fact, because of this condition, because of this statement with the and, both of these things must be true. So if we go and run the code, and it says green if x is greater than 200 and y is greater than 200, which, by the way, I'm going to move my mouse down here. That would be somewhere around here. Let's go and click somewhere else. So I'm going to click up where green is less than, x is less than 200, and we don't get a green. I'm going to click where y is less than 200, and we don't get a green. And I'm going to click where x is, again, where x is less than 200. We don't get a green. But when x is greater than 200 and y is greater than 200, boom, we get a green. Now, aside from having an and statement, which can make your conditions more complicated, we can have a or statement. And I shouldn't really use the word complicated, more useful, let's say. So here in this next example, they say if we press the mouse and if x is greater than 200 or y is greater than 200, then do something. So let's take a look and see what can be done. So in this case, if x is greater than 200 or y is greater than 200, we get a green dot or a green circle. So let's check this out. If x is greater than 200, notice here that x is greater than 200 over here, but y is less than 200. I'm going to go ahead and click, and let's see what happens. Wait. Before I click, I want you to pause the video, and I want you to try to predict what you think is going to happen. Will I get a green dot here or not? This is where x, again, let me get myself, oh, dang it. In this case, we cannot see what the x and y values are. Ooh, maybe I'll do something fancy here. I don't know if you saw me do this in a previous video, but it turns out when you guys are going through and learning about how to do something new, and you look at the code that's in the notes part of your lesson, you can not only try the program out, but you can go and modify the program and add to it or take away from it and experiment and try to get a feel for what's really going on. So I'm going to go ahead, since when we're doing the notes, there is no x and y down in the lower right corner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write some extra code to make it so that when I move the mouse, I print out the mouse x and the mouse y just when I'm moving the mouse around. So I've added this code. Now I hit run, and now we're going to go and take a look, and I'm going to move my mouse around the screen. So over here, you can see that my x value, the x value is on the left over here, and the mouse y value is on the right. So my x value is definitely less than 200 over here, and my y value is less than 200 as well. So let's see here. So let me move the mouse over here. Here, my x value is greater than 200, but my y value is still less than 200. So I'm going to ask you the question. If this is the case, and this is our if statement that we see, if x is greater than 200 or y is less, if x is greater than 200 or y is greater than 200, what do you think's going to happen if I click here? Okay, what do you think's going to happen? Pause the video, take a guess. Okay, I'm assuming you paused the video, and now here comes the spoiler. 3, 2, 1, I'm clicking. Hey, I get a green. Now, some of you might be freaking out because you're thinking, well, it says if x is greater than 200 or y is greater than 200, and y is clearly not greater than 200. But the thing is, only one of these has to be true, and the whole thing is true. And the whole thing about if statements is that if the condition is true, if the entire condition is true, and in the case of having an or, any part of it could be true to make the whole thing true, in that case, we will do the actions associated with the if statement. Now, if for some reason this condition is false, if both of those are false, then we will go do the else. And we will only do one or the other, not both. Okay, so anyways, so let's take a look and see what happens if x is greater than 200 and y is greater than 200. We should still get a green because both of those are true. So if either of those are true, we get a green. So certainly we get a green. And what about down here? Down here, x is not greater than 200. And y is greater than 200. Well, actually, let's go up here. If here x is less than 200 and y is less than 200. So what do you think? I'm going to have you pause the video. By the way, you can see the x and y values over here. Pause the video and see whether you think I'm going to get a green circle. Okay, I'm hoping that you guessed. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I'm about to click. Boom. Yeah. See, neither one of those is true, so the entire condition is false. And then finally down here, if I click, the y is greater than 200, and only one part of those need to be true for this to work when we have an or conditional. Now, it would be great if you guys could get practice with this a little bit and get a sense of how and or works, and maybe you will strengthen and refresh your understanding of how if statements work in general. Okay, what else? Let's see here. Oh, they have the not. Not is kind of handy because sometimes you want to say if something is not true. The thing is, though, I have to admit, when I've been writing code in CMU, I don't recall that many applications for using the not. So I'm not going to. No pun intended. I'm not going to talk too much about this now. Maybe we'll talk about it if I run across an application for it in one of the exercises. And then that's the end of 5.1.1. Let's take a look at 5.1.2. For 5.1.2, oh, so they're talking about something called nested conditionals. So in 5.1.2, there are basically what they're saying is there's other ways to do and or conditions. So for example, if I have an if statement that says if x is greater than 200, and then my very first action statement is if y is greater than 200, this is a very interesting situation. What happens is I am essentially simulating an and that we just learned about. See, what happens is the only way we're going to do this code, circle and label, is if both of those are true. Because if either one of those is not true, then there's no way we'll get to this. There's no way we'll get to those two lines. And let's double check and see if I'm right about that. So again, we should only get a green if both x is greater than 200 and y is greater than 200, which would be over here. Let's take a look. How about green here? Oh, oop, did I run? Let's try running. And let's try here. Green here? Nope. Green here? Nope. Green here? Nope. Green there? Yes. Okay, so I was right. Okay, next, using else. Again, I don't know what is really new here. You guys have already learned how to use an else with an if statement. So I think I'm going to just let you guys go through that on your own and try the checkpoint, make sure that you get the answer right. And let's see here. They have one more example. I think that's about all that I wanted to say about the intro to Unit 5 and certainly Section 5.1. And now I'll make some videos where I walk you through some of the exercises.